earned after missing 6. I'll have game day at 5. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday at 4:45. All you have to do is listen. I'll have game day at 5. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday at 4:45. All you have to do is listen to me for your chance to win and see the Jazz at Moda Center. Dave Deckard of Blazers Edge is going to be in town tomorrow for Blazers Edge night. He will join me for the Rip City Drive from Moda Center tomorrow. Free agency is underway in the NFL. Mike Evans, leaving the Bucs, agrees to a 3-year deal with the Niners. Malik Willis agrees to a 3-year deal with the Dolphins. Tua signs a 1-year deal with the Falcons. And Kenneth Walker is now a Chief with $28.7 million in guaranteed money. NFL insider Benjamin Albright will join me today at 3:20 to do a deep dive on free agency. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doings coming at you right now.
Live from the Coors Light Studios, it's time for the Rip City Drive, hosted by the crazy and often irrational Chad Doing. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill.
And the Oregon State Beavers are heading to the WCC Finals for the second year in a row.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doing starts now.
All right, what's up? I don't know how you're feeling right now, but my body is still a little bit jacked up from the time change yesterday. I'm really torn because half of me loves the time change because we now have longer days, and there was still some daylight out yesterday after 7 p.m., which is a beautiful thing. And golf season is not far away. But then on the flip side, my body clock is completely jacked. I felt weird and halfway sluggish yesterday throughout the day. And, of course, I had to go to Moda Center for a Blazer game. And I woke up feeling a little bit weird this morning. But it's all worth it if we get more daylight, longer days, and everything else. So that's what's going on. And if you hear me get irritated today, which is possible, or if you hear weird noises in the background, it's for good reason. Armageddon is taking place inside of our building right now in Tigard. They are going through the process, and these guys are all idiots, by the way. The same fools that threw away my box and discarded my hard drive that had 25 years worth of my radio on that hard drive, the portable hard drive. It's gone. Why? Because they threw it away. No questions asked. They just tossed it. Those same guys now are going through the complete renovation of our building, and they are tearing everything up. They've got jackhammers. They've got weird devices, a lot of machinery, and they're making a lot of noise. And they're driving me insane today. I can't go anywhere and find peace and quiet. It's an impossibility. Normally, when you come to the radio station, you can step into your studio and it's like quiet because you got the padded room, soundproof. Not today. I've got like my chair right now is vibrating. It's tickling my innards right now because they are using some type of jackhammer in the building. What we're doing here is that we are eliminating a floor in our building here in Tigard, and then they are redesigning the entire building. So we're going to get a new layout, and everything's going to be much better, and I believe that we're going to save some dollars and cents in the process. But in the meantime, it's HE double hockey sticks inside of this building. Everything's torn up. And then to get anywhere, to talk to anyone, you have to walk through this maze because they got stuff taped off. They got plastic stuff up. And it took me like 10 minutes to get over to the sink in a different area so I could get my water from my Nespresso machine to have coffee for the show. It's chaos right here. So my apologies for any type of weird noises that you hear. Or you might hear me starting to get off because my chair is vibrating at a ridiculous pace right now because of the jackhammer. So a lot of weird stuff going on in the studio. But it's great to be with you. Here's what we got coming up on the show. It's 3 to 5 today. Oregon State baseball is coming up at 5 o'clock. And then Oregon State basketball in the WCC tournament is going to be on KEX. So I've got 2 hours to get out everything I need to get out. Benjamin Albright, NFL insider from 850 KOA in Denver, is going to join me to talk free agency coming up in about 15 minutes. And then at 4:20, a good friend of mine, Alex Spearman, is going to join the show. Really smart guy. I spent Saturday with him inside Tacoma Dome for the Washington State basketball tournament and had a chance to watch the best team, Rainier Beach. Jamal Crawford was on hand. His son plays on that team as a freshman. and they've got the top-rated recruit in the country, Stokes. So we'll talk about the tournament with Alex Spearman at 4:20. You can reach out to me on the Rip City Radio text line at 88528, and also call the program at 503-248-0620. But it's great to be with you. I appreciate your time and a lot of different things I want to talk about. We'll start with the Blazers last night, who hammered the Pacers, and rightfully so, because Indiana is one of the worst teams in basketball in the middle of a tank year due to all the injuries that they have suffered. But the Blazers did what they were supposed to do. They went on a big run in the second quarter, 25-7, took control of the game, and dominated almost from start to finish. Midway through the second until the end of the game, they dominated. And the guy who led the way was a surprising character. Scoot Henderson, 28 points, 6 assists. He was 10 of 15 shooting and broke out of a horrendous slump that took place on the 2-week road trip where they went 2-3 over the course of the 5 games. But Scoot Henderson was struggling. Blazer fans were gripping, and you could see Scoot out there on the floor, missing shots and mentally just grinding, trying to figure things out. But he snapped out of it last night, playing free, playing fast, and was aggressive. And you got to love it. So after the game, Tiago Splitter shared his thoughts on Scoot Henderson.
I think he has 6 assists, 0 turnovers. Help us to get the guys together, push the pace, made shots, drove strong to the basket. So confidence was there. So great for him. Good to see him, playing better tonight. I think it's just those days that we are down. You gotta find a way to get up and perform.
And he certainly did. So the question is, what were you telling Scoot during the course of his struggles to get him back in a position where he played like he did last night?
Control the things that you can control. To play hard, to push the pace. Shots is so hard to control. It's impossible. So just be confident there that you put in the work and let it fly.
Now, I wasn't too worried about Scoot, and that's because everything I hear about him, and this has really been the case since he was drafted and he came in, he's got the work ethic that you need to be a very good NBA player, like a really good work ethic. Like, he's willing to put in the time. He practices. He puts in the time. He puts in the film room, and he's willing to listen to both coaches and his teammates, especially the veteran teammates. Like, this guy goes through all the little details to get things done, which is critical. So I wasn't too worried because when you have those type of God-given abilities and you're willing to put in the time, good things are going to happen. Tamani Kamara, after the game last night, talked about what he saw in Scoot and the way he performed.
His aggressiveness. I think when he played like that with that level of intensity and that will to beat his defender, I feel like he's unstoppable. I was telling him during the game, I feel like there's times where he can maybe play a little bit too much with the ball and stuff like that, and he's too fast and too strong for people to stay in front of him. So you just got to keep playing with confidence and believe in all he's been working on his whole life. He's a great player. He's here for a reason, so it's no surprise to me the way he played tonight.
Yeah, and Tamani also talked about, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, that people don't see, but he could see Scoot going through his process, because teammates know. And then if they see something, maybe they'll offer some insight. Maybe they'll leave him alone, but they could all see what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, you can see guys being in the head a little bit. It happens to everybody when you're not playing well, when you're not performing well. It's heavy on the mental. So gotta fight some battle here and there sometimes, but it's ups and downs. It gives you an opportunity to do better and to improve and to learn from those moments. So I think he responded well.
Yeah, he played extremely well. Denny Avdia made his return after missing 6 games with the lower back management. 18 points, 8 assists. Most importantly, was moving around without issue. He also has confidence in Scoot and talked about what he saw in that game last night.
Well, I know he's capable of that. I've been playing with him for a while. I loved his confidence. I loved his ability to keep shooting, keep playing. He didn't play the whole season, and people forget it. And it's very, very hard to jump right into like a team you haven't played with. And Scoot is gonna do him. He's very talented, and we've seen big games from him in the past. But as I said, you gotta be patient. And I think today was a good step for him, and that's about just stacking days and stacking games right now for him. But we're not surprised.
Yeah, I think the reason why Blazer fans get concerned when Scoot goes through a slump like we saw on the road trip is because of games like we saw last night. He's capable of so much. And in terms of confidence, all I can say is I can only speak for myself. If I had a body like Scoot, I might walk around naked every day or maybe just wear a Speedo. There's no way I'd wear a shirt, and pants would be optional. His shoulders, his body for such a young man, he is strong, he looks great, and he's explosive. And we saw that last night where he was beating guys to the punch and getting to the rack. Love to see that. Now, in regard to Denny, he talked about his return and what he's looking to accomplish now that he's back on the floor and able to play last night and play well.
Go as expected?
Yeah, I was just focusing on not having any back pain and kind of like being smooth with my kind of game. I'm still gotta get back in rhythm a little bit. I've been in and out of games so much since kind of January, so stack a couple of nice games now, like in March and April, and really see how I feel. But it's a good step. The medical staff has been doing a good job, and yeah, it's now just get back in game rhythm. Be confident, make plays, share the ball with my teammates, have fun, and just the last push of the season.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Denny Avdi is everything to this team. He's their best player, and once again, when he was on the floor last night, everyone looked comfortable. They know their role. They trust Denny to make good decisions. He pushes the tempo. He provides toughness. He's a physical player. And the other guys on the floor who aren't necessarily great creators on their own, they can settle into their spots, and Denny's going to find them. Everything just works better with Denny on the floor. He's the straw that stirs the Trailblazers drink. So big props. And Scoot Henderson, man, love to see that because I want good things to happen to Scoot because I like his work ethic and the way he approaches the game. 0620, I'm pumped because we get to talk to Benjamin Albright, one of the smartest guys. 0620, I'm pumped because we get to talk to Benjamin Albright, one of the smartest guys, and he's so plugged in, knows the league really well. We'll cover all the free agency talk with him coming up next. You got the Rip City Drive. Trailblazers in action tomorrow. The Hornets are in town. Tip-off will be at 7, and I'll have Blazers game day starting at 5 right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, very happy to go to the phones. This man is very busy. He is an NFL insider from 850 KOA in Denver, also host of Broncos Country Tonight. It's my pleasure to welcome Benjamin Albright to the show. Ben, good afternoon. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. I want to start with this on day one of the tampering period. Has anything that's gone down surprised you?
Not really. Their intent was always to kind of keep the band together. The Denver Broncos did flirt around with Travis Etienne, but that price point got too high. They were in up till $10 million a year, and then it got to $12.75 million a year, and they were just like, no, we're not doing that. They were in on Devin Lloyd, but that's gotten too high. I don't think he's signed yet, but that's just gotten well out of where they wanted it to be. And that's kind of how it is. The Denver Broncos looked at this thing, and they're like, all right, we're going to keep the band together. We're going to try to plug what holes we have. We just went to the AFC Championship game. We kind of want to run it back, but we also want to get a youth movement in here for some of these older guys, that kind of stuff. And that's where they're at. Now they're gonna sign a few free agents. There'll be a few guys. They're after Kendrick Bourne, a couple other guys out there, but I don't think there's really anything splashy that they're still in on.
Okay, so we know that they've got R.J. Harvey at running back. It's announced that J.K. Dobbins is going to return on a 2-year deal. So would you expect them now to maybe look towards the draft to addressing the running back situation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're not done with the running back room. They know what the reliability of J.K. is, and they know that they're going to have an insurance plan on that, and that'll be the draft. A couple of guys that they've had big scouting contingents at, Jadarian Price, Mike Washington down there at Arkansas. They've got a couple of guys they've got their eye on. A third-round joker, slot, chess piece kind of guy, Eli Heidenreich out of Navy, slot receiver and running back. They've got their eye on some guys for that room.
All right, so the Broncos also have released Drake Greenlaw. That's going to put up some salary cap space. But number one, why did they arrive at the conclusion to release Greenlaw, and what will be their solution to fill that gap?
I suspect they'll be drafting a linebacker. Singleton and Sternad are back, but I think they're going to draft a linebacker. You can look at like a Jacob Rodriguez out of Tech as somebody that they're looking at. They want to have that 3-man rotation there. As far as Greenlaw, what's the best way I can put this? He was not a culture fit in Denver, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, John Franklin Myers, very productive in Denver. He just cashed in with a massive deal from Tennessee. I'm assuming that's why the Broncos moved on, because they knew that the price was going to be steep for a productive interior lineman like Myers.
Yeah, they knew they were going to be outside his price range. And for the Broncos, it really is about, managing the cap at this point. They got out from under the Russell Wilson deal. They got everybody under extension this past year, and that's really where most of that money went. Getting these extensions done with guys like Quinn Meinerz and all that, and, Pat Surtain, all these guys, having all these guys under extensions. So, now you've got your eye looking forward. You're in year 3 of Bo Nix. You're going to have an extension coming up here soon. And so they've got to work the cap in a way that they can get everybody paid and keep the team together while still being able to get the Bo Nix contract done here in about a year.
Okay. Do we know if Davis Webb is actually calling the plays yet? Has that officially been announced? What's the latest on that?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, Sean Payton said that he's going to call the plays. However, Sean is saying he's still going to have a heavy hand in all of that. So we don't know exactly what the division of labor is, but it has been stated that Davis Webb will at least call the plays initially. I'm kind of sort of more of the camp of I'll believe it all when I see it. Sean Payton's never given up play calling voluntarily. He's had it taken from him twice in his career, but he's never given it up voluntarily. He was at the podium claiming that, he identified Davis Webb as the guy, and, this is a thing they were doing last year, but I'm told internally this was not something that he went along with willingly. So we'll see how that goes.
We're talking with NFL insider Benjamin Albright. The Jags are entertaining offers for Brian Thomas. Where do you think he lands?
Well, both the Jets and the Giants offered at the deadline last year. Now, the Jags said they weren't dealing him last year. They look more like they're willing to engage now, so we'll see. I'm not sure that the Broncos, I think they'll pick up the phone and call on that. I'm not sure that they'll make that deal. I just don't think they want to give up draft capital right now. But that's something to kind of keep your eye on a little bit. But the Jets and the Giants both offered before the trade deadline last year.
All right, Malik Willis agrees to a 3-year deal in Miami. Short sample of improved play there with Green Bay. What's your read on that situation?
I mean, the head coach has got familiarity with the quarterback. They know that they're in a tear-down rebuild. And to be honest with you, those numbers are pretty cheap for a quarterback, relatively speaking. So it's a pretty cost-effective dice roll. And if it works out, hey, you've got him under contract for 2-3 seasons. If it doesn't work out, you can get out from under it real quick and be good to go. And, oh, well, you tried.
What teams will be targeting Kyler Murray?
From what I understand, the Jets and the Vikings is what it's down to, and it really comes down to whether Kyler wants to sit there and learn with the JJ situation and then maybe jump in if JJ can't hack it, or if he wants to just be a starter on the Jets. You know, the Vikings are a contender, the Jets aren't, and so there's kind of a choice to make there. The Jets can offer more, but that doesn't really matter to Murray in year one because it's going to be a 1.5 offset deal, veteran minimum, kind of what Russell Wilson did with the Steelers. So, you know, it really, for Kyler, he's got to figure out what he wants out of the rest of his career and sort of figure that out. And those are really the two main options.
All right. Do you expect the Raiders to be 100% in on Fernando Mendoza? Any doubts there they'll draft him?
No, they're going to draft him. I don't think they should, but they will. If it were me, I would try to trick the Jets or the Cardinals that are coming up taking that pick, taking a boatload of picks. They just got picks for Crosby. You could take this year as kind of a setup year with a bridge quarterback, you know, and then go into next year and be in the Arch Manning sweepstakes, you know, that kind of stuff. But they seem to believe in Mendoza. They got the number 1 overall pick, and they're gonna take a swipe at it. Now he may not start right away for them. They may sit him for a little bit, kind of what the Patriots did with Drake May. But you know, he is expected to be the number 1 overall pick.
All right, a lot of Seahawks fans around me here in the Portland area. What do you expect the Seahawks to be focused on throughout this free agency period?
I think they want to, you know, craft their offense around their new offensive coordinator. So there'll be some changes. A few changes there as they try to plug and play. Obviously, Kenneth Walker's out now, so you got to, you know, are you going to stick with what you got? Do you need to add somebody? But right now, I think they're just centered around, okay, we've got a Super Bowl caliber football team. We lost our OC. We lost a couple players here. We're just going to try and plug and play things here. They're kind of in a similar boat, I think, to the Denver Broncos, who, you know, just made the AFC Championship, and they're playing this a little lighter than trying to jump in and pay A+ money for B- talent.
All right, Mike Evans has agreed to terms with the 49ers. What do you think about the fit with Evans and that Kyle Shanahan offense?
I think it's good. I mean, Evans is a great route runner. It's going to be interesting to see because usually they want speed on the outside, and he's not really that. So it's going to be sort of interesting to see how they utilize him. If they utilize him more as like a heavy slot receiver, and if that takes away from what George Kittle does, or if Kyle adjusts his offense yet again and tries something a little bit different. You know, I think he's a great player. Got plenty left in the tank. I just worry that the fit is a little bit weird, relatively speaking. Evans chose them over some bigger options because he feels like they've got a better chance to win games, which is what he wants, including that's why he left Tampa. Tampa offered him more, and he just wanted out of Tampa. So, you know, I think, it's an interesting fit. Great player at the end of the career. We'll see what he's got left.
All right. What is the overall approach for general managers that you talk to when it comes to free agency? Because it's got to be challenging, right? Because you're paying big money for guys that may not be deserving of that type of big money. So what's the proper approach here as you enter these waters?
Well, that's sort of the thing. I mean, like every general manager I've ever talked to says you don't want to be a big player in free agency. The idea is, I mean, maybe your first season you're coming in there and spending big. Usually you're taking over a bad team. Usually you're taking over a team with a lot of cap space, that kind of stuff. So your first season as a GM is a little bit different. After that, you want to be homegrown everything. Yeah, you want to use, you don't want to go out there and pay A+ money for B+ or B- talent in free agency. You want to homegrow those guys and continue to extend them, that kind of stuff, and go from there. And so, most general managers don't want to hit the gas on spending in free agency. Usually it's the same bad teams that are doing it, teams like the Titans or the Jets or the Raiders or whatever out there spending a bunch of money in free agency. Well, and we saw that again this year. So, I think if you had your preferences as a general manager, you're not out there doing it. But fans get all upset if they don't see big splashy names getting added.
All right, you actually predicted this on your show, but Tyler Linderbaum, the center from the Ravens, agreed to that deal with the Raiders today. $81 million with $60 million in guaranteed. I mean, what's your read on that? Is that an overpay, or was that a necessary move for the Raiders, who are going to be drafting a young quarterback?
Well, it's both. It is an overpay, but that's the cost of doing business, and you kind of had to pay the Raider tax there a little bit. You've been a bad team, so are you going to get this guy to come over and be the cornerstone of your new offensive line? Maybe you got to put a little bit extra in that contract to kind of sweeten it up for him to want to come there. Now, I will say, because it's Las Vegas, that sweetener ends up working out even more because it's a state tax-free state. So Linderbaum is now going to get half his games in a state tax-free on his game checks, which will boost that money just a little bit. But the Raiders had made center a priority because they were going to move Powers Johnson to guard. And so they'd kind of prioritize that center position. We're willing to spend a little more. Now, they had $119 million in cap space, so even resetting the market at 1.5 times what the number 2 center is making for them is not really a problem, because at the end of the day, they've still got a boatload of cap space.
All right, final question for you, Ben. What are a couple other things to keep an eye on as this day one progresses that may go down?
Devin Lloyd, I think that's the one everybody's kind of keeping their eye on. He's got teams that are interested: the Bengals, Panthers, Saints. He's got plenty of interest, so that one everybody's watching. Kobe Dean, the inside backer, I think he's going to Dallas. Not sure if that's done yet, but I think he's going there. And teams are just looking around at those inside backers a little bit. Edge rusher market has been a little soft in free agency so far, so something to keep your eye on is usually the number 2 paid position. The market's been a little weird for a lot of those guys. There's been a couple of contracts handed out, but there's 5 or 6 quality edge rushers still out there that are a little eye-opening that they haven't signed yet.
All right. He is an NFL insider from 850 KOA in Denver, host of Broncos Country tonight. Ben, I appreciate you, and I thank you for your time. I know you're jammed. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the madness.
Absolutely. Take care.
There you go. There's Benjamin Albright, crushing it like usual. Oh, so excited. Very excited. All right, so Dre Greenlaw, not a culture guy in Denver. Thanks a lot for your time, Dre. And, of course, the Raiders overpaid for Linderbaum. But you have to. If you're going to bring in a rookie quarterback, you might need a better offensive line so he doesn't get murdered out there next year. But I love the Raiders. The Raider fans are so loud and obnoxious, and their team sucks. They stink to high heaven, and they're dysfunctional. And we'll see how things, if they can change. But you got Tom Brady, who, according to the bowl cut, is involved, but yet he's in Florida. You've got people who are complaining about Alex Guerrero, Brady's trainer, who is like the health and fitness nutrition coordinator for the team, rolling around acting like he's the GM and reporting to Brady. Yeah, they're a mess. But they have been for basically my entire life. They won the Super Bowl in '84. They've been mostly a mess ever since then. And now we have an entire generation of human beings on the planet who have no idea what commitment to excellence would mean when mentioning it with the Raiders, because all they've seen is a commitment to excrement. They suck. And I want them to suck. But I like Mark Davis. So there you have it. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. And I guess for the Broncos, you have a team that's a broken ankle away from being in the Super Bowl. You don't need to make wholesale changes. They're going to be okay. And I'm still suspect on Sean Payton giving up play calling. He's too much of a control freak to completely just jump out on that. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Justin Sternad and Alex Singleton are both back for the Broncos. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm pumped. I can't wait. The Seahawks are going to bring back Rashid Shaheed. 3 years, $51 million with $34.7 million guaranteed. And he was a big-time player, especially in special teams. He's got great speed. This is awesome. So a lot of stuff going on. And the 49ers get Mike Evans, a quality veteran wide receiver. You talk to guys who have played with Evans, they love him. Brady loved him. Baker loved him. He's big time. According to Mike Kliss, Dre Greenlaw notified he'll be released after the Broncos brought back both Justin Sternad and Alex Singleton. Greenlaw move expected as his $9 million payout this season was not guaranteed, and his long injury history continued in his lone season with the Broncos. But according to Benjamin Albright, it was a lack of a fit with the team. or the culture. The Raiders today. Center Tyler Linderbaum, 3 years, $81 million. Linebacker Quay Walker, 3 years, $40.5 million. Linebacker Nakobe Dean, 3 years, $36 million. Wide receiver Jalen Naylor, 3 years, $35 million. Quiddy Payne, 3 years, $48 million. Eric Stokes, 3 years, $30 million. Malcolm Kuntz, 1 year, $11 million. And they're able to trade for cornerback Teron. So there you have it, Teron Johnson. The Raiders have been very busy. All right, we'll keep things rolling. We'll talk with my good friend Town Action tomorrow. The Charlotte Hornets are in town tomorrow. The Charlotte Hornets are in town. Well, this is great. The NBA has canceled the Atlanta Hawks' upcoming collaboration with Magic City, an adult entertainment club. What does this say here? Commissioner Silver says, quote, "We became aware of the Atlanta Hawks' scheduled promotion. We reached out to the Hawks leadership to better understand their plans and rationale. While we appreciate the team's perspective and their desire to move forward, we have heard significant concerns from a broad array of league stakeholders, including fans, partners, and employees. I believe canceling this promotion is the right decision for the broader NBA community." You think? Yeah, I can see why that might be a problem. Once you go there, there's no return. But then again, it's the same commissioner that's in knee deep with the gambling companies now. You might as well go with the tail. Throw a little tail in there, commissioner. You've already got the gambling companies. All right, 503-248-0620. Rip City Drive with Chad Doing on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. You know, the funny thing is about Entertainment Club that the Hawks had planned. Entertainment Club that the Hawks had planned. My guess would be the NBA absolutely had prior knowledge of this event probably months ago because the Magic City logo was already signed off and approved for with merchandising. So my guess here is that they were going to go forward with the idea. And then once the backlash started to roll in, when you get fans, corporate partners, and different people taking issue with something like that, that's where the commissioner steps in and says, oh, no, once we became aware, we're going to shut it down. Well, my question is, how does anything like that advance into the development stages? Because that's something you got to shut down right away. Again, if I were to run a sports league, number one, the most important thing I would do is try to put it in a position where it's going to appeal to as many people as humanly possible. And if you start bringing in strip clubs or doing promotion nights with Magic City, you're going to turn away a lot of fans who don't want their kids to be exposed to that type of stuff. You want to create a family-friendly environment. That's critical. You know, like the Trailblazers, they've got these family Sunday fun days that they've had. Great concept. You have earlier tip times. You get everything set up at Moda Center where you have all these different spots for the kids to be able to bounce around and have fun, face painting, value menus. Like, that's the way you want to do it because you're appealing to the masses there. But if you were to bring in a Magic City promotion, or let's say they were doing a promotion for the Dolphin at Moda Center, that's not going to fly with the families. So, love how this stuff comes to be. Can you imagine the NFL doing something like that? Now, it is a bit weird because the leagues are knee-deep into the gambling, right? Like, they will take money from any gambling company now for anything. They just want money. And the weird part about the gambling for me is that it's going to develop into a serious problem, like an epidemic. My guess would be that the damage that the gambling is going to do with it being legalized, with everyone having access now to sports wagering via their phones, not everyone, but there's going to be a lot of people who develop addictions, and there's going to be a huge fallout from that. So, I don't know. Interesting. 503-248-0620. The Blazers will be back in action tomorrow against the Charlotte Hornets. It's going to be Blazers Edge Night. Big thanks to everyone who stepped up and purchased tickets for Blazers Edge Night to make this a special one. It's going to be the biggest Blazers Edge Night of all time. Over 2,100 tickets were purchased and have been distributed out to different educators around the area who are going to be able to bring underprivileged youth to the game tomorrow night. And that's pretty special. And there were a lot of people that stepped up. Whether you bought one ticket, two tickets, or a bunch of tickets, it doesn't matter. You were part of something special, and I love seeing the kids walk into the bowl and see their eyes light up as they go to their very first NBA game. So that's pretty cool. And that's coming up tomorrow night. And as a part of that, Dave Deckard from BlazersEdge.com is going to be in town. He's going to meet me over at Moda Center tomorrow, and he's going to hang out with me and do the Rip City Drive. And then I'll have him on the network pregame show as well, but we'll get a chance to talk some hoop and celebrate Blazers Edge Night. But I'm happy that that it's turned out to be such a big event. And many of you stepped up to contribute and be a part of that. Now, I just got a message from Duke, the UPS guy, huge New York Giant fan, and he's concerned about Cam Skattebo, who was awesome until he had that gruesome ankle injury last year. He says, question, when Skattebo comes back, does he still do the backflip after the injury? And then he wonders why he thinks about these type of things. And my response was very simple. Yes, Skattebo will still do the backflip. And he wanted to know if the new coach, John Harbaugh, will try to prevent him from doing the backflip. And it's like, no, you want Skattebo. Guys like Skattebo who are hungry and run with a certain anger when they have the football, that play with pure emotion and energy and spark their teammates. You don't want to limit that guy whatsoever. You don't want to put him in chains. You don't want to put boundaries around what he does. You just let Scat be Scat. And if that means he's got to do a backflip to pump up his teammates or the fans, then he does a backflip. Now, maybe he does a backflip once to show that his ankle is 100% legit, and then he decides to back away from that. You know, but Skattebo's crazy. He doesn't think like we think. Skattebo is a hungry runner. Not too many guys that I've ever seen that run with the purpose that he does when he's got the football in his hands. He's one of those guys that he doesn't shy away from contact. Like prime time, Deion Sanders is the best cover corner I've ever seen. But he wasn't necessarily looking to come up and support the run and throw his wonderful body in the way of big-time defenders that want to clock you. Cam Scatterbo is the exact opposite. Not only is he not afraid of contact, he actually loves contact, and I think he plays better the more physical in the way he's dishing out punishment out there. Cam Scatterbo is one of my favorite college football players of all time, and one of my favorite players to watch in the NFL, and I just want him to come back and be 100% and go out there and do what he does. Great player. Football guy. Loves football. He's hungry for it, and he's aggressive, man. The guy's crazy. I love crazy football players. Cam Scatterbo is definitely that guy. Love it. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Tua is no longer with the Dolphins. They have signed Malik Willis to a 3-year deal, and Tua has signed a 1-year deal with the Falcons. So he'll go in. I doubt he'll be competing for the top spot, but more than likely he'll have a chance to play because if Penix, when he gets hurt, Tua can step in. Shaheed is re-signed on a $51 million deal with the Seahawks. And my buddy reached out to me and said, did you see the end of the LA Marathon? Not yet. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at the end, but I've got to check that out too. But NFL free agency is underway. Right mix with players in most cases. So the question is, can you find the right mix without breakers in most cases? So the question is, can you find the right mix without breaking the bank for guys who can come in and be productive so it's not a waste? 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Travis Etienne is on his way to New Orleans. There were a lot of teams that wanted him, but the pricing got way out of hand real quick. And Mike Evans is now with the 49ers. All right, we'll keep things rolling. I appreciate your time. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, Trailblazers going to be back in action after a win last night. They hammered the Pacers. Scoot Henderson was awesome, 28 points and 6 assists. Denny Avdia returned after missing 6 games and 18 points and 8 assists. The Blazers host the Hornets tomorrow. Tip-off from Moda Center will be at 7. I'll have game day at 5. Trailblazers Ticket Tuesday will be 4:45. Just listen to me for your chance to win tickets to see the Jazz at Moda Center. Dave Decker to Blazers Edge will be in town for Blazers Edge night. He'll join me for the Rip City Drive from Moda Center. Mike Evans leaving the Bucks, signs a 3-year deal with the Niners. Malik Willis, a 3-year deal with the Dolphins. And Tua has signed a 1-year deal with the Falcons. And I just pulled a rookie move. During the commercial break, I was talking with Michael Shacker over Teams. And I have to use a different channel to be able to do that. So it takes out the sound from what's playing out over the air. And I just remember Shacker saying, hey, I'll reconnect here in a moment. And it was all of a sudden really weirdly silent in the studio. And from my earbuds, I heard that the update was playing. I was like, crap, I'm supposed to be doing an update right now. But it's great to be with you. I'm going to talk with Alex Spearman. He is a very good friend. And I had the pleasure of going up to Tacoma on Saturday. He had me up. He was the gentleman in charge of all the hosts for all the different teams that rolled in for the Washington State basketball tournament that's played at Tacoma Dome. And I hadn't been up at Tacoma Dome. I think the last time I was there, like 2008, for Britney Spears and Pussycat Dolls. And I am ashamed to admit that. But I hadn't been up there in a while. And I had called games back in the late 90s, early 2000s on radio for the state tournament. And it's a great scene with all the teams there. And, you know, part of the day they had 2 games going at once because they drop a curtain right in the center. And they got 2 separate courts, which was pretty cool. But the championship game on Saturday night was nice because you had Tacoma that had a team in with Lincoln, and it's rare that they get a local team into the title game, taking on Rainier Beach, who is obviously one of the dominant forces in high school basketball in the state of Washington, and that's where Jamal Crawford's son, JJ, plays. I think as a freshman this year. He looks really nice. But they've got the top-rated recruit in the country, Tyron Stokes, and Stokes was awesome. And they dominated the game and won the championship. But Alex is in charge of all the hosts, and he had me up, and we were sitting courtside throughout the entire afternoon, which was really awesome, and had a chance to run into some people up there, watch some basketball. But I want to talk to Alex about the tournament, but also about, you know, this hosting gig. It's pretty sweet to see how all the teams and the schools are taken care of. And, of course, this week we've got the OSAA Championships, which will take place out at Childs Center. And we're going to have all the games for you live here on Rip City Radio 620. But it's that time of year. High school tournaments. We got the college basketball tournaments. Portland State and Oregon State both won yesterday in advance in the Big Sky and WCC conference tournaments. And I really like Portland State right now. They took out Idaho State last night. But I'm a big fan of their coach. I'm a big fan of what they've been able to accomplish this year. And I like tournament action. So today, Oregon State and Gonzaga will play at 6 o'clock. Pregame's at 5:30. You can listen to the game on 1190 KEX. Gonzaga is a monster favorite, but pretty crazy that the Beavers have a fired coach who's still coaching them in Wayne Tinkle, 2 wins away from making the tournament. Also, Santa Clara will take on St. Mary's. That game will come up after the Beavs and Gonzaga, and that game will tip off at 8:30. Now, in the Big Sky Conference Tournament, today, 2 games, 4:30, Northern Colorado and Montana, and then at 7, it's Weber State and Eastern Washington. And then tomorrow, Portland State will play again at 6 o'clock. So Portland State is in the semifinal. They're 2 wins away from making the big dance. So it's pretty sweet. And we'll see what Oregon State can do, although I would not expect them to beat Gonzaga tonight. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. The 49ers will now have a big three of Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and Mike Evans. Yeah, NFL free agency always, that first day, fast and furious. Scotty Bethune has chimed in. The LA Marathon ending was epic. Also, they allowed people to quit after 18 miles and still get a finisher medal. Running 18 miles is quite the accomplishment, but you didn't finish the marathon. You got a DNF. This world is so soft. I agree. Running a marathon means running 26 miles. So if you run 18 miles of the marathon, like that is an accomplishment, but you should not get a medal. No offense to anyone who finished the marathon after running 18 miles. But come on, man. A marathon is defined by the miles in which you run, right? Like, for instance, Reach the Beach. I've done it a few times, and I'm assuming it still goes, but you would ride from basically Portland to the coast, and it's over 100 miles. And the first year I did it, I was 18, close to 19 years of age, and I did it with my workout partner, Luke, and another guy, good guy, Brian Woods, who, longtime firefighter in Vancouver. And we did the Reach the Beach together, and we prepared for it. We trained for it. And about a week before, we did 54 miles to kind of slowly, gradually work our way up to the 100-plus that we're going to ride on Reach the Beach. And the whole idea was to finish, right? And I forgot how long it took. Maybe it was just under, I think it was about 6 hours and 50 minutes. And when I was going up just past where Spirit Mountain's at, when you're going up over the mountain range, heading out towards Lincoln City, my legs were cramping up. I was fatigued. I'd been on the bike for a long time. My bonch was numb. And I was in tears when I was pedaling up the mountain range because it's a steep climb and you're like 80 miles into the ride. And I was in tears, just emotional, crying, and in pain. But there's no way in HW hockey sticks I was going to get off the bike. I wasn't going to stop. There's no way I was going to quit. I was going to pedal my way up to the top. And the feeling of elation I had when I got up to the top of the mountain range and started to coast down to our final stop before the final leg, it was the greatest feeling of all time. And then there was a strong headwind as we approached, probably about, 10 miles outside of Lincoln City. That final 10 miles was a grind. But passing the finishing line, knowing that I had pedaled and ridden over 100 miles to get to the beach, like, it was great. But if I would have stopped 80 miles in, I would not have wanted a shirt. I would not have said that I completed the Reach the Beach. It would have been miserable. Now, later on, I had injured my elbow mountain biking. I flipped over my handlebars because I didn't get my butt back far enough, and I crushed a piece of the radial head of my left elbow. Well, I'm still not 100%. Every time the season changes, I get arthritis in that joint. Well, I went to ride. I finished the Reach the Beach once. I did it with my dad once, twice. I finished it twice. The third time I was going to do it, I got about halfway in, about 50 miles in, and the vibrations from the road were driving straight up into that elbow joint. And my arm was aching to the point where I just shut it down. I quit. So I did not accept a shirt. I did not accept anything from that race. You know why? Because I did not finish. And to me, finishing is what it's all about. But I did pull up the video during the break, Scotty, and I watched the end of the LA Marathon. There was a guy way out in front who looked like he was going to win, but he was gassed, like literally gassed. He was hobbling towards the finish line, and the challenger came up behind him and turned on the jets, and he crossed it in a photo finish right before the guy who looked like he was going to win reached his hand out, but he fell down, and the other guy won the race. And it looked like he was going to win. He was right there, and that other guy just turned on the jets and blew by him at the last possible moment to get the victory. But handing out medals after 18 miles is absurd. A finisher medal. You didn't finish. How can you get a finisher medal if you run 18 miles of the 26? Oh, well. Yeah, running is not my game. I love to strength train, but running is hard on the joints. That's just not my game. And my idea of movement is walking across a golf course over the course of about 3.5 to 4 hours. Or in the mornings when no one's on the course, it's more like 3 hours. There's nothing better than that. Waking up early during the week, hitting the course, playing with another dude, and you zip around the course in like 3 hours playing at your own pace. That's a thing of beauty right there. Going from the 3 hours during the week in the morning to like a 5.5 hour round on the weekends, that is a rude awakening. So where do you guys come out on that? Should you get a finisher medal for running 18 of the 26 miles in a marathon? I don't think so. I mean, good. You ran 18 miles. Congrats. But I'm sorry, but we're not giving you a medal. My buddy Luke, who does the Spartan races, there's no way he would ever accept a medal if he did not finish the Spartan race. He wouldn't do it. He's like, I didn't finish. I don't deserve it. I'm not deserving of the medal. Can you imagine that? I roll up on Scotty. Look, dude, I got a medal for what? Finishing. How far did you run? 18 miles. Wait a second. Isn't a marathon 26 miles? Yes. Then why did you get a finisher medal? Oh, my goodness. All right. Scoot Henderson, awesome last night. Played extremely well. And Denny Avdia gave him a lot of praise after the game. 28 points, 6 assists.
Capable of that, I've been playing with him for a while. I loved his confidence. Capable of that, I've been playing with him for a while. I loved his confidence. I loved his ability to keep shooting, keep playing. He didn't play the whole season, and people forget it. And it's very, very hard to jump right into like a team you haven't played with. And, Scoot is going to do him. He's very talented. And we've seen big games from him in the past. But as I said, you got to be patient. And I think today was a good step for him. And that's about just stacking days and stacking games right now for him. But we're not surprised.
Yeah. It was great, man. He bounced back. He was big time. And that was coming off a 2-week stretch where he was struggling. All right, we'll come back. My good friend Alex Spearman is going to join us. And we'll talk a little bit about the tournament up in Tacoma. I appreciate your time. Hope you're enjoying your Monday afternoon. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Blazers back in action tomorrow. Charlotte will be in town. Tip-off against the Hornets will be at 7 from Moda Center. All right, our next guest, a good friend of mine, and he hosted me up in Tacoma this past weekend for the Washington State basketball tournament. And he's joined the show once again. It's Alex Spearman here on the Rip City Drive. Alex, good afternoon. Thanks for making time for me, buddy.
Hey, Chad. How are you, buddy?
I'm really well. I just shared the story about us. I just think it's pretty cool that 14 years ago we had a random encounter at a Mariners game, and here we are today still friends. I think it's awesome.
We share one thing in common, right?
Yes.
Go Blue.
Go Blue. All right, so talk to me about the tournament. I had a blast. I was there for probably 7 or 8 hours watching basketball, including the title game with Lincoln and Rainier Beach, which was great. But for you, what exactly is your role? Because you kind of handle all of the hosts that take care of all the different teams that come in for the tournament. So what exactly is your role with that?
Yeah, so there's 48 teams that come to the tournament throughout the state, 24 girls, 24 boys teams. And this host program has been in place since 1958. And basically somebody, back then, because teams come from all over the state, to set something up for when these guys, come to play, that the city has an ambassador for them to, welcome them to the tournament, and then also help out the athletic director, the coach, should they need a gym, place to eat, things of that nature. So from there, it's expanded. Of course, in '58 they didn't have 48 teams that come, but I took the role over as the host chairman, myself and significant other, about 2 years ago. And that's what we do is we assign a host to every team that comes in. If it's a team that returns every year, that same host will get that team. That way they have, they already have a relationship with the athletic director and the coach. And the role of the host is basically they meet the team. The tournament starts Wednesday and goes to Saturday. Wednesday, there's some single elimination games, but on Tuesday, we have a walk around at the Dome where the teams arrive. We have a big ice cream social. Everybody likes ice cream. So the hosts feed them unlimited ice cream sundaes and get the opportunity to meet their team. The host will put together a goodie bag that will have anything from, tournament swag, maybe their company swag, fruit, candy, juice, anything of that nature, so the kids have something to munch on, especially when they go back to the hotel room. And then most of the hosts will take the kids out to a lunch or dinner or bring them food. It just all depends on what their tournament schedule is like. But that's basically it in a nutshell. And in return for that, the host gets 4 passes to the tournament, and then when their team plays, they get to sit courtside with their team, which is really cool for these guys because you're down and you get all the action.
That's pretty awesome. And I heard there were other people who were wanting to get on the list, like they want to become hosts, right? So you have people waiting, looking for the opportunity to be able to take part in the host program.
Yeah, we built the program up. When people will see. People in the crowd will see kids or families sitting courtside like, hey, how do I get to do that? We've gotten to a point now where every year we have a waiting list. With 48 teams, some of our hosts have been doing this for 30, 40 years. And, they get tired and they'll retire from the program, and so we have people waiting in the wings that will fill their shoes.
Gosh, that's really awesome.
It's nice. It's nice to have that, and some of the letters. I wish I should have brought one with me, but one of the hosts sent a letter, or one of the coaches sent a letter to the host, an email to the host this morning, and just so gracious. Thank you very much for your hospitality, taking care of our kids. It's a time of their lives they're never going to forget. And, hopefully we get to come back next year and you can host us again. Getting something like that, that's what these hosts, that's what they enjoy most of this. It's for the kids.
That's great. Now, for you, Alex, you grew up in the Tacoma area, so it's like your home. Like, was this an opportunity for you to give back? I know you love sports and you're a big basketball fan, but what was your outlook on wanting to be a part of the program yourself?
Well, I mean, it's, giving back to the community, number one. Number two, I mean, I feel we're very lucky that, this event is held at the Tacoma Dome, which is right in my backyard. But, I mean, Chad, you and I have had lots of conversations about this. I mean, what the professional sports has turned to, and now even college sports. I mean, when you have a favorite team in college sports, it can change the next year. I mean, who are you going to root for with NIL money and everything? So, at least with basketball or high school sports, their objective is, I want to be number one, and that's what they go out there and they put their heart into this. I mean, and to be able to watch that, it's special.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. You get a chance to give back and see the games there. I think the Tacoma Dome, for that usage for the basketball tournament, and because of the central location being right there out the freeway, like, it's not the prettiest site in the world, but it's like perfect for that event, for that basketball tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the Sun Dome in Yakima also hosts the 1A and 2A, 1A and B, 2A and B tournament. They have 32 teams or 36 teams that go to that tournament, and capacity for that venue is only 6,900 people when it comes to basketball. I don't have the numbers yet, but for the big game between Rainier Beach, who had the number one ranked kid in the country, and Lincoln, which was a Tacoma school, that had to be a record crowd this year at the Dome. I mean, there was standing room only in some areas, and people not even being able to see the full court, but yet they still wanted to get there to watch the game as best they could.
Yeah, it's great. I was so happy that I had a chance to see Rainier Beach in person and see Tyron Stokes, the number one player in the nation, in person. You know what was impressive about him, Alex, is that while he's got the ability to do anything he wants on the basketball floor, I was impressed with his willingness to be a team-first guy and to keep his teammates involved, even though he could easily take over a game at any point in time that he wanted to.
Yeah, it's truly a man amongst boys. I mean, one game this year, I mean, he had 63 points. And yeah, you saw it firsthand sitting courtside. I mean, he can do anything he wants to do at any time. Not to mention, Jamal Crawford's son, J.J. Crawford, a freshman for the team, and another special talent at his age. And the shooter that he's already starting to become is very impressive.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I thought, Jamal Crawford's son, JJ, when you told me he was a freshman, I was like, no way, because we were watching him warm up before the title game. Everything about his game, the jumper, the follow through, it's so smooth. I'm like, they didn't have freshmen like that when I was in high school.
You can say that again. Gosh. I mean, he's very fortunate with the pedigree where he comes from. But exactly, I mean, you just don't see freshmen like that, and you're going to see his name a lot here in the next 2-3 years on what he evolves to be.
All right, that's great. We're talking with Alex Spearman, my good friend, who hosted me up in Tacoma for the championship this past weekend. All right, you were also talking to me about something that my listeners may find very important, because everyone's always reaching out to me. We have issues accessing the sporting events that we want to watch with all the different streamers that are out there. What is the service that you're currently using at home to be able to access all of your stuff?
You're talking about the cable TV?
Yes, the one that you said was too good to be true until you tried it yourself.
Yeah, there's it's FOS Extreme Player LLC.com. Somebody turned it on to me, like 3 years ago, for $44 a month to be able to get, the Football Network, baseball, basically every channel in the country, to mention all the movies, all new releases and any movie you want at no extra cost, including the pay-per-views. It's a heck of a service. And, I've had no complaints. You just got to make sure you have a good internet for streaming. But other than that, it's been a godsend because, like you and I were talking, I mean, the amount you pay for cable TV it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absurd. It really is. See, Alex is doing God's work right now by supplying you with information that you need to be able to access movies, programs, sporting events. And the best part is, Alex, like, you don't need different. You now have everything on one spot. You don't need like several different streamers to access all of your sports channels. That's beautiful.
No, yeah, I mean, and I think when you told me what you were paying for the NFL Network, it's just like it was like almost 2-3 years ago, doubled in cost.
Yeah. It cost me
what it used to be, and
I think I paid $449 for the NFL ticket this year.
Yeah, I mean that's and it's only going to go up.
That's more than what you paid for your entire service. I paid for one package for all the NFL games. That's brutal.
Right. Then you throw Hulu and Apple TV and Paramount and Netflix and it just and it just keeps going up.
Well, that's great. So also, I want to ask you about this because I think this is really cool. You just got a new job. You're coaching golf, which I think is freaking awesome. What's the name of the school that you're coaching at?
Silas High School in Tacoma, Washington.
That's great. Now, are you doing boys and girls golf or just one or the other?
It's funny you say that. I'm sitting out here hiding behind a tree because I'm out on the course right now in practice. And I made sure my guys bring my phone out here because that's a no-no. We can't bring phones. But I got girls coming one way and guys coming the other, so I'm taking cover. But yeah, Silas High School. Just a great group of kids, and it's nice to see the girls out here playing too. I mean, I've got some gals on the team. I play a lot of golf, but I got some gals on the team that are just phenomenal the way they stick the ball.
Well, I know that you and I both love the game. How rewarding is it to work with a student, work with one of your athletes, and you get them to make the correction, and then they have success and pipe a shot, down the fairway or onto the green? That's got to be pretty cool to see them have those successes.
And it is, and then including where they start at the beginning of the season to where they end up, or when they're shooting in the high 40s, low 50s, and by the end of the season they're down in the low 40s. I mean, it might not seem like a lot, but hey, when you can shave 6 or 8 strokes off your game in a 3-month span, I mean, it's exciting for these guys. And taking that into account, I mean, like I told you, some of the players they'll bring a swing coach out. I mean, they're taking the game really serious, which makes my job that much easier.
Gosh, that's awesome. All right, Alex Spearman, golf coach at Silas High School in Tacoma. He was the host for all the hosts at Tacoma this weekend for the basketball tournament. Hey, Alex, I love you, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on, and I cannot believe you're hiding behind a tree on the golf course right now. That's awesome.
Well, hey, being on the show means everything, so thanks, buddy.
I'll
talk to you soon.
You got it. There's Alex Spearman. What a heck of a guy he is. One of the most generous individuals. I mean, this is how it went down. I'm sitting there at Mariners-Dodgers series up at Safeco. I start talking to this dude. He's really nice. And by the end of the game, he had me set up at El Gaucho because he had part ownership in the El Gaucho. So I went there. Amazing. He and I became friends, and now we spend time together. 14 years later. He's a big sports fan, but really smart. But then again, most of the people I roll with are smarter than me, but this guy's high level. He's into he's had many companies, but he's into manufacturing and engineering. He's done a lot of work for Boeing. And I believe he told me he has a company now, and I did not know this was the case because I would not classify myself as a gun guy, but he has a company now that manufactures parts that you use to make guns, but you can't make the gun, meaning he sells the parts to different companies that assemble the guns, but I guess it's against the law to actually make a gun. I did not know this. He was filling me in on all the details, but he makes the parts. They manufacture parts that get sold to the companies that make the guns. Fascinating. I had no idea that you cannot, it's like a state law, you cannot put a gun together. So anyways, that's Alex Spearman. and it was awesome to hang out. And actually, I was at a sporting event, not working, and just watching basketball and hanging out. Ran into Francis Williams up there. Ran into Dick Fain from, Dave Softy-Mahler's show. He was calling some of the games up there at Tacoma Dome. And I tried to find my boss up there, but he disappeared before I could find him. And it was cool. Good times. Very good times. And the best part is I didn't have traffic issues until right before that little turn right by the Tacoma Mall. When you get close to Tacoma Dome, it slowed down there, but it always slows down there. I've done that right a few times in my life. All right, we'll keep things rolling here, Rip City Drive. Big thanks to Alex Spearman. Big thanks to Benjamin Albright. Big thanks to Michael Shacker. He's got his entire family of animals helping him engineer the program today. And the Blazers going to be in action tomorrow. Hornets in town. Tip-off from Moda Center at 7. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday at 4:45 here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, Oregon State, Gonzaga coming up at 6. And then we'll have Beaver Baseball coming up here in 15 minutes on Rip City Radio 620. And that wasn't going to be a problem until Oregon State went off and won their basketball game last night. So we've got to utilize multiple stations to carry the Beavs. And Wayne Tinkle, I think it'd be great. He's been fired already, but he's still coaching the team. It'd be pretty awesome to see him carry them into the tournament. Like, I'm pulling for them to beat Gonzaga tonight. That'd be great. We'll see how that shakes out. Portland State will play tomorrow, and they're 2 wins away from reaching the tournament. 2 wins away from winning the Big Sky tournament. They already secured the regular season championship, so we'll see if the Portland State Vikings with Coach Colburn can get in there. And there you have it. Those games, I think last night, I watched the Idaho State game. I pulled up a European stream, which is a nice way of saying illegal stream. But I think those games are being aired on ESPN+. I've got so many, like username and passwords from people I know, but I can never remember certain ones. And I couldn't remember the ESPN+, so I had to pull up an alternate stream. Dr. Mike has reached out, and he said absolutely would not accept a medal for running 18 miles because you didn't finish. And I agree with that. If you're going to run a marathon, like for me, if I was going to run a marathon, it would all be about finishing. Like I'd have to die to not finish because I don't like doing things incomplete. I like to, if I'm going to start something, I want to finish it. And I've learned that over the course of time that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all in. I hate it when I start something, but I'm not fully committed and then you don't finish it. And there's no satisfaction for me that comes from that type of stuff. I like to finish things. I enjoy the process of work when it comes to those type of challenges, physical challenges. I like being able to finish. Same thing with golf. Like I've played with guys before, like if they're struggling out there, they'll finally speak, I'm out, and they'll just walk off the course. But I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I want to work through my struggles and get better from that. Or I've had, those days where you maybe you blow up on the first or second hole, and it's enough to make you want to wrap a club around your neck and die. But, you keep pressing through and I think it builds character, but also you learn how to deal with those type of difficulties, which is important. Michael Shacker is a despicable man, and he likes to send me random headlines throughout the course of the show. So I get this from the U.S. Sun. This is sent to me from Michael Shacker. This is the headline. Man bleeds to death after cutting off his own anus on the streets in Los Angeles. I don't know why he sent that to me and why he thinks that would be appropriate. And then, of course, because it's such a disturbing headline, I had to read through some of the reporting to see what was said. Officers say they do not know the man's motivation for harming himself or whether he was on drugs at the time. I guarantee you there were drugs there because there's no way in your right mind you would slice that off and choose that way to go.
I thought of you and I saw that headline, but also I didn't read past the headline. I'm glad to see that you read the whole article.
Also, according to the report, at the scene, officers found the body of a man, quote, with clear signs of having suffered a violent death. Yeah, you think? If you die because you cut off that is a violent death. And I don't know any man that could think of a worse way to die than that. Good. Now I'm not going to be able to get that image out of my mind forever.
Yeah, isn't there video of it?
I'm not going to look, and I'm not going to search for that. I love this. Graphic footage also reportedly showed what appeared to be a large wound in the man's, quote, growing area. I mean, of course there were drugs involved. I mean, if I were going to off myself, I could think of like a million different ways to go that'd be better than that. Huh. Anyways. Shacker, thanks for nothing, my friend. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number.
Wonder if you got any viruses on your computer after clicking on that article.
It's on my phone. So you destroyed my phone. Thanks a lot for that. And the Sun, if I recall, like the one overseas of the U.S. Sun, like there's always spicy content inside of their website with some of the stories they choose to cover. Unbelievable. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You can reach out. Tomorrow, Dave Deckard from BlazersEdge.com is going to join me in person at Moda Center. We're going to be up on the concourse. We'll do the Rip City Drive. He's going to be in town for Blazers Edge night. And we're going to have over 2,100 kids in attendance, underprivileged youth, where they're going to get a chance to see their first basketball game, and that's because of you. People stepped up, bought tickets, and now these different educators who put in requests, all requests were filled. And so we'll have a chance to dive deep in on the Blazers with Dave, which is going to be pretty awesome. And then the Blazers have 2 more home games before they take off on their road trip. They play tomorrow night against Charlotte, and then they get a game against the Utah Jazz on Friday, and they'll be in Philadelphia on Sunday. But the next several games, they got a chance to stack some wins here. And it's very simple for me. If they've got Denny Avdia and he's healthy, they're going to be just fine. Like, no issues whatsoever. And last night, Coach Splitter talked about Denny and his return after missing 6 games, 18 points and 8 assists.
Great. I think it's the first time, since he was healthy that he was not scared to attack the rim. He played with force, getting those end ones, getting to the paint, going left, going right, feeling himself again. So good to see him, progressing there.
Yeah, it was. Love Denny Avdia. He played well, moved well, most importantly. And he looked comfortable out there, which is what you want to see. All right, that's going to do it for me. The Oregon State Beavers baseball team is in action coming up here at 5 o'clock. If you want to listen to the Oregon State Beavers basketball game against Gonzaga in the WCC tournament, pregame at 5:30, tip-off at 6 on 1190 KEX. And tomorrow I will talk to you. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday at 4:45.